Hi everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television.
And I'm Kim Anderson. I'm a board member of Mcat, and I'm also the Director of Programs and Grants for Humanities Montana.
And we're going to invite you to this Spring Hope edition of Missoula
Well,
Live.
you are an optimist.
Well, why not? It seemed a little violent out. It is Monday afternoon on March 5th. I was wearing sunglasses for a moment, running errands. Taking them off.
You caught that brief little window there.
Yeah, I really did. But we're hoping for spring, right? In 2 weeks' time, when we'll be back here doing the show, it'll be but 2 days away from the first day of spring. So.
I'm not hoping for spring. I'm just leaving town and going south.
Good for you. Do you want to talk about Humanities Montana? Is there something going on?
One brief thing, well, two things. But on April 20th, we have a grant deadline. Humanities Montana gives about $150,000 every year to nonprofit organizations who do work in the humanities. History, literature, philosophy, political science. There's our website. And we have a grant deadline, as I said, coming up on April 20th. So if you are involved in a project in the year going forward that could use some financial support, you might go to our website, read our guidelines, give me a call. I'm always available to counsel people about grants. And I hope you'll consider it. These are for public humanities programs.
Excellent. And I would remind people too that you have an enormously welcome program on news, fake news, and all that stuff, and that it's still going on, isn't it?
It will be going on throughout 2018 and probably even into 2019. When Scott showed the website just a moment ago, you saw that Informed Citizen. And
right, that's what it reminded me of.
It's called the Informed Citizen Initiative, and we have available a catalog of about a dozen different programs that can be brought into school classrooms or libraries or museums or any community organization. They're absolutely free. And they talk about the importance of media in a democracy, and specifically in our democracy. Changing the evolution of news media organizations, the phenomenon of fake news, different programs that look at environmental reporting, investigative reporting. There's a lot of different
That's
options.
Great.
Yeah.
And also that you have the Speakers Bureau where people from anywhere in the state, right, can book someone to come in, give a presentation. And I think it was you or someone that said one major function of Humanities Montana is to generate informed discussion.
Yes,
it's about
absolutely.
Talk, so people talk about these issues.
Yeah, that's right.
Come to their own conclusions.
Our motto is learn, reflect, together.
Nice. Well, on that note, I would share the leading news of Mcat, at least to me, right? Because I'm responsible for getting people together for focus groups. And the purpose of the focus groups is to find out the needs of the community over the next 10 years in terms of local communication. Segue. So in order to do this, we're asking people if they have about 2 hours to spare it for MCAT on Tuesday, April the 3rd, on Wednesday, April the 4th at the Missoula Public Library in the large meeting room. If you go to mcat.org, you'll see at the top banner, just 2 over to the left, focus groups. It will explain what the focus groups are going to do, why we're having it at this time, and then there's a link. Click here to register. So I just want to encourage people to do that. We'd love to hear from you. And the time is coming up, April 3rd and the 4th. And other news, MCAT counselors are offering a spring break film class. The class is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's also advertised on the website. So we're looking for kids about age 9 to 13 that would like to spend some of that spring break time learning stop animation, learning script writing, using our green screen, our virtual reality. And if you're interested, you can go to mcat.org, and then there's a spot to click to register for that spring camp. And then the last piece of business, every Saturday, Animation Drop-In. It's clamoring along. They usually get like between 8 and a dozen kids each
Very
Saturday.
popular.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. It's $10 fee for 1 to 5 p.m. and that's every Saturday up until the Saturday a week before the Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, right.
That must be May teen something. So that's enough. I'm exhausted.
We're
I've said it
doing
all.
too much.
Yeah. So our first guest is here.
Yes, being very patient.
Yeah, Megan Pfaff, welcome.
Hi,
Thanks for
thank you.
coming.
Thank you for having
You
me.
know it. So this is the 11th year of your event.
Yes, the 11th year of the Missoula Women's Fair at the UC Ballroom. So we're really excited. It's grown a lot in the last
And it's
11
coming up
years.
this Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah.
So March 10th?
10th.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain to us what the Missoula Women's Fair is, what its purpose is.
We are celebrating International Women's Day, which is on the 8th. And so the Women's Fair is an event there to empower women and educate them, but they can also shop and pamper themselves. And we have tarot card reading and a chair massage, entertainment all day. So we have people like Summit Cheerleading and Kanga training. So there's going to be a bunch of moms wearing their babies doing some dance moves on the
Interesting.
stage. Yes. And then we spotlight 2 nonprofits that are in the community. Every year it's different nonprofits, and we raise money for them. We donate a booth to them, and we allow them to speak on the stage throughout the event as well. So a little bit of a, community twist to it.
That's an interesting
Oh, I
wrinkle
know.
to the whole thing. And the purpose is just to spotlight businesses and services that
Right.
are primarily women focused.
Right, exactly. So we have everything from like Mary Kay to Providence, to dentists and chiropractors and fitness clubs. So everything that involves, your life as a woman from young to having babies and wearing babies to Missoula Aging Services is there. We have Montana Wild Fish and Game Wildlife is there with specific programs that are for women in their department. So yeah, a lot of really cool information, and the event is free to attend. So no reason not to come, spend a little bit of time, and at the end of the day, if you're still there at 3:30, we're giving away $100 cash.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Boom.
And there's a
right.
website. I was so enthralled with what you were saying. I didn't notice on the preview monitor
Yeah.
whether people saw that at home.
Yeah.
So the website will give the specifics
right,
of
MissoulaWomen'sFair.com.
right.
It gives you all of the vendors there that day. Also, there's a thing that says 2008 nonprofits. So it'll tell you all about our 2 nonprofits that are
One
going to be
is
there.
a Living Art, right?
The
They've
Living Art
often
of
been on this
Montana.
show.
Yeah, they're
And
wonderful.
They're just down the street,
Oh,
on
okay.
Tool.
Yeah,
and I
and then
paid
this-
them a visit, like I've been doing a new show, visiting
Oh.
nonprofits and whatnot. So we went over to their art workshops that
Yeah.
they have over on Tool or Spruce, depending on how you look at it.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
little warehouse there.
Yeah.
And then there's another
The Silver
nonprofit.
Lining Foundation, and
Yeah.
they're brand new. They just started
I hadn't
in like
heard of that.
2015. So what I think is really cool is every year we pick like 6 or 7 nonprofits that help women or children in the community, but then people can also nominate nonprofits.
Oh.
So these 2 nonprofits were nominated, and then people vote on the nonprofit they want to see. These 2 blew everyone
Oh, wow.
out of the water.
Interesting.
No one had a chance of becoming a nonprofit this year because they had so many people
Well, that's
voting
impressive.
for them. Yeah.
Do you know what the mission of Silver Lining is?
So the Silver Lining Foundation helps women who are battling cancer, and they do dragon boat racing,
Wow.
which
Oh,
is
whoa.
super cool.
In the Clark Fork? Or?
I'm not 100% sure where they do it.
I know they
come
do-
to the event.
Yeah, we should go
and
find
talk
out.
to
Right.
them. Yeah.
I know they do something like on Flathead
I'm
Lake.
going to make a.
Yeah.
Dragon boat race.
We need to have him on the show.
Yeah, right.
Pretty
They're
interesting.
wonderful, wonderful people, and their mission is fantastic. They want to empower women while they're going through this change in life, and really show them that there's a group of people that are just like them, but that they're strong and they can get through it. And they really help with the whole, mind, body, spirit aspect of these women.
Oh, that's great. Because
Yeah.
Living Art is a good complement to that.
They
because
are.
they do work, with people facing serious illness.
Right.
And they don't want to really call it art therapy, but art expression is available and so on.
I just think it's wonderful because I get to learn a lot about the nonprofits in this town as
bet,
well,
yeah.
with the nominations, and both of those two nonprofits I had never heard of before. So I'm excited to learn more about them as well and see them on stage at the event and talk to them, because I haven't had a chance to talk to them in person yet.
Yeah. The event, it ends at 3:30 in the afternoon?
It ends at 4.
Okay.
But we are
you
giving
doing the
away
drawing?
our $100 cash prize
Right.
at 3:30, and then we also have 6 amazing baskets that we raffle off at the end of the event, and 100% of the proceeds go to those 2 nonprofits.
Nice.
And
Great.
all 6 of our baskets are worth over $1,000,
Jeez.
and it was all donated from vendors in the event and community businesses. So
Wow.
That's terrific.
Now, how many vendors will you have this year?
we have over 60 vendors.
Whoa.
10 of them are handmade items. And then, like I said, we have tarot card readers. We actually have somebody that you can learn how to paint. So she'll have canvas there and you can paint, and chair massage and face painter. So there's interactive things going
Oh,
on
it
as
sounds
well.
fun.
Yeah. And then the kid performers are my favorite. They are so cute. So on the website also has our list of entertainment. We have entertainment starting right at 11:15 and going until 3:30 when we do the raffle prizes and the $100.
Is that the very start of the event, or does it start earlier?
It starts at 11.
Okay.
We give people 15 minutes to, make their way in.
Right, right.
Right.
And then we start with the entertainment. And it's all in the same room, which is cool. So you can watch the entertainment while you're, visiting the vendors.
Sure.
And, yeah.
And I think we owe, as always, when there's an event at university on the weekend, I like to assure the viewership
Yes.
that there's plenty of free parking.
Plenty
I mean,
of free
generally,
parking,
Yeah.
in that
absolutely.
UC parking lot to the north,
Yeah.
and a little bit, in the
And
Mansfield.
also the library.
Yeah,
the
that
library
parking structure.
lot,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so then you just take people don't seem to know where the ballroom is. 3rd floor
Yeah.
of the UC.
And
Think
that there's an
that's the
elevator,
glass elevator.
in the
Yeah.
middle, sort of,
Yeah.
or it seems to be a little on the north side, but maybe
Right.
it's right in the middle. I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
Because
But
the
it's
stairs are
glass, which is
outside.
cool.
it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's stairs inside, outside. I mean, you can
Yeah,
get there
that's true.
every which way. And we have posters throughout the UC, and we have the most amazing volunteers. So there's only 3 of us in my office that put on this event, and there's a lot more than 3 moving parts.
Oh,
to
I'm
it.
Oh, I
sure.
bet, yeah.
And so we have the community has also stepped up, and we have had a ton of volunteers to help us hand out bags and help vendors load in and do the raffle table, which it's just amazing to me to see the community come together for an event like this
We should have been there for our summer camps.
Oh, right.
next
I have
year.
to put it in mind for next year.
Yeah.
Because
Very good idea.
and on the some of the literature about the fair, and this was, I suppose, directed towards vendors, it said women make 85% of the household
Yes.
decisions.
Right.
And it's
They
not
do.
the first time I've heard it, in terms of childcare. Different advertisers have said to me, well, all the studies show that it's usually up to the moms to decide what the kids are going to do for the summer.
Yeah, I have a husband. I have 2 children. My husband's like, hey, can I do this today? Do we have plans?
Right.
What are we doing?
Because you're in the 85 percentile of
Because
decisions.
Oh,
I
yes.
trained him well. Yeah,
Yes,
no,
very
no,
good.
I mean, we make it as a family, but I'm the one that finds the information
And keeps the calendar
brings
in your
and
head.
Keeps
Yes.
the calendar and brings everything home and says, okay, I think the kids should do this, this, and this.
Right.
So yeah, women do make a lot of those decisions.
So next year, an opportunity.
Yeah,
March
next
9th.
year, Mcat will be there with summer
Okay.
camp offering.
Okay. Woo, see? Then they can all come visit
Right.
you guys next year.
Nice.
So Saturday, March 10th.
Yes.
Beginning at 11,
Beginning.
ending at 4.
Yes.
UC Ballroom, 3rd floor, University of Montana campus. Plenty of free parking on the weekend.
Free parking, and it's a free event.
admission.
Yeah.
Right, with
So-
lots
With
of goodies
giveaways.
like that. Yeah.
Tons of giveaways, and I think almost all of the vendors are doing enter to wins, and
Yeah.
then we have our awesome raffle prizes. So, and 100% of the proceeds from that raffle goes to those two nonprofits.
The
Excellent.
weather's going to be terrible. It'll be a fun
What?
day to go to the UC.
I heard it's going to be terrible. It's like 60% chance of rain that day.
Yeah, so
but
just
it's
go straight to
warming.
the UC.
People, it's warming trend. Spring is.
It's
Did we just
warming,
say
but
spring
not
is
warm
coming?
enough to go
right
outside.
here.
It's warm enough to drive to the
That's
UC.
right.
But you don't want to spend too much time outside.
Right.
You want to go straight to the UC. All right.
All right. Megan, thanks so much for taking
Thank
time
you
to
for
talk to us
having
about
me.
it. You're most welcome. And now Scott is going to show you a little something. We're going to trade out visitors, and we'll be right back with news from Jeannette Rankin Peace Resource Center after this.
Hey, how's it going over? Oh, have a good day. Oh, huh, I didn't see you over there. What a nice day to be out and about today. But I want to tell you something about what's going on here. Hold on a second. Let me just adjust this. Okay, there you go. Let me talk about Mcat. Mcat is doing Saturday drop-ins starting every Saturday this fall, winter, and spring season from 1 to 5 p.m. Let's go check it out. Come on. Mcat is a great way to create. All you got to do is come on down to our location at 500 North Higgins. It's as easy as that. See you there.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Ranchers are the stewards of Montana's great grasslands and wetlands. Ducks Unlimited works with ranchers on conservation programs to improve cattle production and wildlife habitat.
Just to finish with the, we're back.
No, he doesn't have to
What
finish
those
anything.
ducks were doing. We are back, and I lied to you in the lineup. Emy Scherrer is here. She is representing a historic preservation office, the city of Missoula. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having
You
me.
know it. So springtime often brings this event, which is the recognition of people in town that have done work to preserve the historic presence of buildings, houses, businesses, and so on, right?
Yes,
So it's coming up again.
it's coming up again.
And people that watching even are invited to nominate different people and projects they think deserve historic preservation recognition.
Yes, please.
Can you tell us a little bit about the categories that are involved in the process?
And the prizes.
Yeah,
We're
right.
just used to that from before.
My loyalty and honor. Yeah, so the different categories this year, they do kind of change, but this year we have commercial restoration, residential restoration, adaptive reuse, compatible new construction, cultural features and or landscapes, which is kind of a catch-all, so it doesn't have to be a building. Could be a trail or
Oh,
sculpture or
good point.
something like that. The Dorothy Ogg Award, which is just outstanding preservation professional, so someone who's devoted their life to it. And the Centennial Award, which can go to a group as well, so an architecture firm or
Sure.
something like that. Yeah, and nominations are due March 21st, so we have kind of a quick window this year, but I know you can do it, Missoula.
Right.
There's been a lot of changes. We've all been thinking about it. And also, I just urge everyone to think outside the box a little bit. There's a lot of historic preservation around us that we don't even think about, whether it's, a reuse of an old warehouse to a gym or a brewery or something like that. The world is our oyster when thinking about, preserving and progressing our special, unique place in Missoula. So.
Well, and I'm certainly downtown Missoula, especially this year. Right now, it's just shocking almost the amount of change and building that's going on. So I think, for me anyway, that always makes me more aware of, I love seeing the renovations and the repurposing that's going on with a lot of buildings downtown. And there's been some losses too that we're all sad about. But but vibrancy and change are part of a healthy culture. And so it's cool to see what's going on with some of the other older buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the awards, we'll have the actual ceremony on May 3rd, which is public and it's catered and it'll be fun. It's a party.
That does sound fun. Where is it held?
We haven't yet reserved a place. Last year
No
we
worries.
did the Roxy.
Yeah, the Roxy Theater last year, and we
that
did
would
some
be
video,
fun.
interviewing some of the winners, and we've always meant to follow through, which I don't think we have. Where we'd go to the places that they fixed up,
that
and
would
then
be a good show.
yeah, I should do it for my out and about.
That would be
I
perfect.
need new places to go.
That'd be great. And so May is National Historic Preservation Month, so we'll be having tours and different events around town throughout the month too. So it's good to keep up with that. One of them we know is going to be the Unseen Missoula tour, which we
that's
did in
great.
September. So seeing those parts that we don't usually get to interact with.
Yeah, one I recorded the last time was Philip Mackling. He was Historic Preservation Officer before Amy had the job. And he was given a presentation of the parking garage of the Florence Hotel. And it was pretty interesting stuff I never knew was there. Like there's a big metal turntable, like in Batman's cape, to turn the automobiles around.
Right.
And there's actually like a lift elevator where the automobiles could go to the sub-basement.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it was pretty trippy. And he was also talking about how that corner was powerful back in the day, that this was, the Florence Hotel building, the Mercantile. It was like the location for capital. I think a bank was there as well. So there was like a free speech event taking place, right? That they do by the clock, the tower,
Yeah.
the watch tower.
Yes.
No, wait a minute, that's something else. But every, 1 year we recorded someone reenacting their free speech because there was attempts to unionize, and they took the fight to the most powerful corner of Missoula, he was explaining.
Right.
So it seems like, there's always these stories. It's not just a matter of buildings, but the people attached to them maybe at the time that really brings some stuff to light.
Absolutely.
And I was saying before we started the segment, the house that I thought should be nominated and was and won has turned into a hostel. So for years it had like a photographic restoration business in it. And it was just one narrow house, and it looked old-fashioned, right? And then the people who bought it added a whole wing to make a hostel, but they matched the shingle and the architecture to the old.
Yeah.
And so that was clever.
Yeah.
They made, so here, that's kind of an example where there's a house really close to downtown, kind of commercial, but they expanded it, honoring its history, using the same architecture, and now it's a hostelry.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about Missoula Historic Preservation and what the organization does and how it runs?
Sure. So we're the Missoula Historic Preservation Commission, and we're a city commission of 9 members. And so what we do is oversee all the alterations and or demolition of properties in Missoula that are individually listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So we have 62 buildings in Missoula that we go through a permitting program, and it's all through the city, so it's a city quasi-judicial commission, and work with property owners and architects on sensitive design and alterations, and what would behoove the building, and we also do a lot of outreach and education about historic preservation. There's a lot of misconceptions about what it means to be on the National Register, and so just clearing up some of that. And yeah, it's a great program. So.
Absolutely, because I see a lot of the signs in my neighborhood. I'm over by the university, and I always wonder, I wonder how laborious that whole process is.
Yeah, so that's, if you see a National Register sign, that would be through the commission, and we work with the state Historic Preservation Office for all the signage, and it's not too laborious. It's fun, and it just means researching old buildings and old pictures.
Yeah, finding out the history of your home or the building that you work in that's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and the neighborhood too.
Right.
Yeah.
I live in the historic South Side neighborhood, not just the South Side,
Yes.
but the historic.
Yeah.
And I love seeing those old pictures, like when the Higgins Bridge first opened, and what we call the hip strip. Like 3rd, 4th, and 5th, those enclave of businesses. And some of it, I feel like, I remember before the Missoulian building was built that there was like a car dealership or something over there.
And the H.O. Bell building.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. When it came down and became the gas station convenience store.
Yeah.
So it's really funny how quickly we forget too.
Yeah.
And that's why there seems to be a little look back, really tickles people. And in the Old West, history is sort of at a premium, right? I mean, it's only, we only got less than 150 years of European history here. We wiped out all the other history. So yeah, people really hang on to the history that they have. Yeah. It's not like some European deal. I know I've told this story before. I was getting my hair cut in Amsterdam, and there was a picture on the wall, right, that showed like several people each cutting their own the other's hair. Like an old man was cutting a very old man was cutting an old man's hair, who was cutting a middle-aged man's hair, who was cutting a young man's hair. And I said, gosh, did you guys do a promotion, for the barbershop? And he said, no, that's a family picture. That's my great-great-grandfather. That's my grandfather. There's my father. And the guy in the seat was me, and the kid was, the man was 12 years old.
Wow.
I said, how long has this barbershop been here? He said, since 1734. We don't get much of that around here.
Right.
But I think that's why people have a fascination with historic preservation.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I always say is that historic preservation is inherently local. It's our community history, and that's why people care, because it affects us here in Missoula. And that's why it's interesting.
So again, what is the process if someone has an idea about a building? Or a structure or a trail or whatever, and they want to nominate? What's the process they go through?
So they would go online. They can go to the City of Missoula Historic Preservation page and nominate, or we have just a direct link that you nominate. So it's all online. You do have to create a free account, and that's just so we have your contact information. And you do have to turn in just a little bit of background on the building, why you think it deserves this, and some pictures. And if you have any architectural renderings or anything like that, you can upload that.
Right.
And we'll review and let the winners know probably around mid-April.
Yeah, so they go to the party. Oh, do you want to show people at home? Yeah, the poster. I really like that.
Poster.
Yeah.
I don't know if, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
People kind of get the idea.
New waves in old ways.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's our theme.
And what
this
is
year.
the image? Do you know
So
what
that image, I don't know, but I found it. It's somewhere in Missoula.
It is in Missoula.
It's in Missoula.
Okay, good.
I thought it kind of, represented more than just what we usually think of.
Exactly.
Of the classic brick commercial building.
Right.
Of you can go so much
Right. It's not the
further
Hammond
than that.
Arcade. It's,
Right.
No.
rougher,
Yes.
a little rougher.
It's rougher, yes, but it's local and it's one of our
It's
places.
so metal clad, and I don't know if that was like the 80s or 90s. The place where, just on Alder, or is it Toole? The one that has the old-fashioned cobblestone features that hotel that's called like the Antique Mall.
Oh.
When I first moved here in '83, I took a picture of the side of it because it was clad in that corrugated like
Oh, really?
aluminum, and I took like a sunset picture because there was so much light and stuff.
Right.
But they've since taken it off. But at one time,
I didn't
that
know-
was
I
the
don't
cat's
remember that.
meow, corrugated aluminum
Yeah.
nailed onto like a clapboard wood structure, along with the very aluminum metal roof.
Yeah, yeah.
But the people love that stuff. Or, you know, the building, and we should move on, but the building that's next to the import mart, that also had tremendous amount of metal. And then another building on Front Street, you know, next to the Stockmans, and that has been renovated in a
Right.
beautiful
Yeah,
way,
that's beautiful.
showing that like 1883 type pride with the little wood
Yes.
turret on the top. Not turret, you know, it's like a spoke. But that was clad in the same sort of metal stuff that I think
Wow.
Stockman's is clad in now. And it was like a 50s deal. That along with like what we have, the fake brick. You know, where people would nail plastic brick to the side of their house to give it more. It was just fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Thank
Emy,
you
for coming
both.
over.
Yeah, this is
And,
going to be fun. I can't wait to see what gets
yeah.
nominated and what wins.
And we'll do a follow through, I promise. You know, with the winners and
Yeah,
see,
closer to
do a
the
show about
event.
what they
Yeah.
really.
And then we'll
came up
know
with.
where the celebration will be.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's
will.
true.
Yes.
We will know that soon.
Yeah. Scott, I don't know if you can show people at home that focus group clip. But that's what's on my mind. No, you cannot. You cannot.
It's totally impossible.
It's impossible. So I'm going to remind people at this point, just because it's much on my mind, I have to get
know.
80 of you people in a room to talk about long-range plans for communication in Missoula, April 3rd and 4th at the large meeting room in the library. Therefore, if you go to mcat.org and click on the tab that says focus groups, you'll see there an opportunity to register for this grand event.
I registered.
You are very, very good. We'll be right back. I think really we're going to bring out the people from Jeannette Rankin Peace Resource Center in their quest to find the Peacemaker of the Year, whose age may surprise everyone.
Yeah.
Right after whatever this is. We'll be back.
Missoula Community Access Television works with kids in an active learning environment where they get hands-on experience in video production. Mcat offers weekly Saturday classes that spark creativity in kids from 9 to 13 years of age. Located downtown at 500 North Higgins. Mcat Saturday Drop-Ins. Create your story.
So how was work?
It was 1,300 hours. My math class from 302 was in the trenches. Davy Roth had it the worst. Fractions were coming at him left and right. He just didn't get the damn things. 2 days ago, I tried to teach him what 1/4 of 1/2 was using different sizes of blocks. Yesterday, I tried again by dividing up pizza. Both missions failed.
Oh no.
But today, I was ready. I created a combat math game where the only way to beat the enemy is to out-fraction them. Davy conquered every last denominator. My game was so successful, the principal is deploying it to math squadrons all over the school. Anywho, how was your day?
Oh, today my boss treated the office to salad wraps.
Salad wraps.
No.
Birthdays come and go, each year adding up to a lifetime full of extraordinary moments. At Missoula Aging Services, we promote the independence, dignity, and health of older adults. We are ready to help connect seniors to the help they need. Knowing you've got friends to support you, each birthday can be special. See how we can help. Call 728-7682 or log on to MissoulaAgingServices.org.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Release thing. Well, we are back. And while you were seeing some Missoula Aging Services clips, it reminded me to remind you, dear viewer, that March is Meals on Wheels month. So this is a month that if you want to help Missoula Aging Services, you can do so either through donations, and I know that the program, right, has seen a lot of federal cuts.
Right.
So we were thinking someone would come from the Aging Services, so I'd just like to take a minute to say in their absence, March for meals that you can help by becoming a driver, or a financial donation, or a letter writing campaign to preserve the program. So, in any event, after much ado about something, we have Nancy and Soma. Welcome, and thank you for letting the other people go on, even though you came so early. So the primary news item we want to talk about is the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center hosting the annual Search for Peace.
Yes.
So, do you want to supply some detail?
Sure. So this is our very first Youth Peacemaker of the Year award. We have in the past done a Search for Peace in which we've had youth engaged in making artworks to express what peace is. And this year we decided to try something different. So we're going to be awarding a Youth Peacemaker Award for the very first time.
Excellent.
And we're here to let people know that. The Search for Peace for young people started in 2001 when Father Jim Hogan challenged the community to think about how can we foster a sense of peace among young people. And so he created the Art Program Award at that time, and we did that all those years through last year, and then decided this year, let's just try something different. So that's what this is, and we've been doing a Search for Peace beginning in 2001 every year. So this year we're going to be shifting to having it be a peacemaker. And Soma can tell a little bit more about what the requirements are to be nominated as a youth peacemaker.
Okay.
Right, so in the selection process, we kind of have the following criteria. We look for individuals who are 5 through 18 years of age, and we look for either groups or individuals. Anyone can be nominated in that regard. And we look for a commitment to peace and justice in the Missoula community itself. And we also look for someone who sort of walks the walk and talks the talk of sustainability and peace and nonviolence and social justice in general.
Wow, so somebody watching out there, they have a unique opportunity to honor someone in their lives that is a lot younger than you would have thought for this award, right? I mean, there have been people, I remember, in the past, of people that have been in the community a really long time and say, by gum, this person needs to be recognized, for all of the diplomacy and all of the sacrifice they've done for the greater good on various causes, And so and I said in the other room, a 5-year-old peacemaker? And I bet there are a lot of parents out there that are also scratching their head at that notion.
There are some small people who come into this world old and wise, and they just are amazing young people from earliest ages on. So we wanted to be able to say, hey, we embrace anyone who, from that age range, who is doing something amazing that's expressing peace.
Oh, that's great.
I should say also that the award of this award, the deadline for applications is the 30th of March.
Okay.
And applications are on the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center website, which is easy to find. It's jrpc.org. And Soma can tell you what the questions are in just a minute, but I just wanted to finish off this thought. We are also still awarding the Adult Peacemaker of the Year.
Okay.
So whoever wins this award, we're going to have a joint celebration to honor the both of them.
Oh, sweet.
In May, when we do our Adult Peacemaker of the Year award celebration, we will be honoring the youth as well.
Oh, that's really good. Nice. And that's so timely, after the latest high school shooting tragedy, what we've seen in the press anyway, is a sense that young people are going to take charge of this
Right.
issue, and then they're really galvanized towards trying to reduce violence in schools in general, and of course the super tragic shooting in particular.
Yeah.
So it's timely that you guys are recognizing Youth for Peace, you know?
Yes, although we had this in place prior to that happening.
Yeah,
but
right.
Even still, yeah.
Right. And I just think it's important to acknowledge that it's not only at the end of your life that you are recognized, or
Yeah,
long
right.
into your years that you are recognized for making important contributions. That people of all ages make important contributions. Soma, how did you get involved with the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center?
Well, I think I've always been sort of involved. I've lived in Missoula my whole life. I'm a junior now, and all throughout childhood I went to the fair trade store, and that was always a great place to get presents. My father bought musical instruments there, and so it was always it had this nice ambiance and this nice atmosphere that I always enjoyed. And at the same time, I was interested in looking at peace and nonviolence and justice in my own community and trying to make a change in that direction. And I thought that the best way to do that is to join, become a volunteer in something, organization like the Peace Center.
Nice.
That's kind of how I got started, yeah.
And he touched on that thing I said we should talk about, and that is the
Right.
fair trade store that's in the front.
It's a lot of people's introduction to the Peace Center, I think.
Yeah, especially at the Christmas time, right?
Right.
We're like, got here.
Yes. Well, we have, again, a fair trade store in Missoula. Almost everything that we have in the store is fair trade, and the few things that aren't fair trade are pretty much locally made. Again, the difference between fair trade and free trade is where the people who are engaged in that whole area of commerce are trying to push the bottom line as low as possible.
Right.
And as a result, a lot of the people who work to make the goods that end up being delivered under free trade are very inexpensive, but the people who make them can hardly support their families in cases they can't support their families. And their working conditions aren't all that good either. I'm reminded of about 4 or 5 years ago, that 4-story building in Bangladesh that was the garment factory, where the building collapsed because it had been made so poorly, and over 1,000 people were killed. That's what you get with free trade. Fair trade is where people are honored for their ability to be able to make quality products, and where they get to actually make enough money to support their families and even have enough left over to benefit their community. I know several years ago, one of our previous fair trade store managers went on a tour with one of the fair trade organizations that certifies fair trade all around the world, went to a village of a place of goods that we'd carried in the store. And the people there were saying, this is so wonderful because now we actually have a school. We can send our kids to school. We're getting paid enough that they don't have to work. They can go to school. I mean, it changes lives when you buy fair trade and you know that what you're buying is supporting the people who are involved in making it. It's just critical.
And the Jeannette Rankin opened that store years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm betting that there is a lot more information about the concept of fair trade, and the process involved in ascertaining it at the Peace Center.
There is, yes, yeah. And there are several organizations that are worldwide organizations that specialize in certifying and being in touch with the folks who produce the products to be sure that they're getting the fairness that they need.
Right.
And then making sure that those of us who try to be the last link in the chain, which is, of course, selling the product, because that's what the whole thing relies on, people being able to sell their products, all of that is minimized in terms of middlemen so that they get paid really directly, and it's a really good system.
And I just want to make sure that the viewers got a nice overview of Jeannette Rankin Peace Resource Center, that there is a fair trade store in the front. There's a library, a free lending library on the subject of peace diplomacy, and also a mediation room in the back that people could use.
Yes, and we actually have classes on nonviolent communication that are offered every 2 weeks. People want to come, and just all you have to do is show up. There's no cost. It's just something that we have going on.
Oh, that's
Is that at a set time every 2 weeks?
It is. It's on Wednesday noons.
Wednesdays at noon.
Yeah.
Every other Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. And you know that one of the best parts about the Peace Center, if you're interested in keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening with peace and social justice issues in Missoula and the surrounding area is that we have a e-newsletter, an electronic newsletter that goes out every Thursday, which has announcements in it of all of things that are going on. And all you have to do is just let us know what your email address is and your name, and we'll put you on our email list. And then every Thursday in your mailbox, your email box, you will have this wonderful set of information about all of what's going on.
That's great.
Now, you mentioned that whether one might want to nominate an adult peacemaker or a youth peacemaker, that there were some questions involved on the website. Do you have those somewhere?
Yeah,
Just an example?
Of course. There's a few specific questions we ask. What characteristics make this person or group a peacemaker? Any specific peace and justice efforts or activities that this person or group has participated in or led? And in particular, also, we're all searching for peace, but how does this person or group inspire you, in particular, the nominator, and spread peace in the community?
Nice.
Good questions.
Yeah.
I know. I like to imagine now, like, fighting siblings, taking a break, and then one is nominating the other, partly in admiration for some of the concessions, and partly hoping it will make them a better person. That they'll have something they'll have to live up to, and they'll be like, I'm taking back that peace award unless you. But I'm not sure. That sounds very doable as well, does it not?
Yes. Yeah. Nominating someone is not very hard. It's a thoughtful thing, but it's not taxing in terms of what you have to do. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful ceremony. For years, Mcat's recorded what we call it, like the Peacemaker of the Year award and something on that order. But I've always enjoyed seeing it, which keeps me at home, right? Because there's always something that comes up in the community. I'm like, I could just watch it at work. But I've seen them for years now, and they're really touching. They really are. I'm thinking of Dan. I can't think of Dan's last name.
Gallagher.
Thank you.
Dan Gallagher. Oh, yes.
Remember, that was a great one, that particular presentation and all of the context. For the people watching, Dan Gallagher for many years supported veterans in Missoula. He was a veteran of the Vietnam War, and he was very affected both by the war and by his homecoming trial once he got back in the 70s. And there was that beautiful film made about the peace sign that was just north of Mcat Studios here. And there was such a debate, right, among veterans. They wanted to see they saw the peace sign as a kind of affront, a criticism, something very negative. And then among the progressive left, they saw the peace sign as this important symbol. And the movie that gal made, I think she was in Minneapolis, was beautiful about. Oh, did you guys?
Hardly,
What a wonderful discussion, and really heartwarming, where people that had different backgrounds could talk respectfully, hear one another, etc.
Well, and one result of that was that Dan and Betsy Mulligan, the director of the Peace Center, became very good friends.
Very good
friends. Very good friends after starting out on kind of opposite sides. So it was almost an embodiment of
the principles,
nonviolent communication. They both listened to each other and became very, very fond of each other. And then they went to high schools all over and talked about the whole process and experience. So that's just one example of what a peacemaker is all about, and how important fulfilling and modeling that sort of compassion and listening and understanding is in your community.
Yeah.
So again, the deadline for nominations is March 30th.
End of the month.
And then what's the timeline after that?
Well, the celebration of an award of the Peacemaker of the Year, both the adult and the young person award, will be probably sometime in mid-May.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be sometime in April. The committee will sit down and look at all the nominations and make their selection and let the person know. But my guess is we're probably going to keep it, so it'll be a big surprise.
Right.
Something, maybe not at the celebration, but certainly maybe not any sooner than the same day, perhaps.
Oh, cool.
So my guess is it's going to be a big deal.
Well, that's pretty exciting.
Although we will, we might not do it that way. I'm just thinking because we want all the people's friends to be there.
True.
So we probably will do it a little sooner.
Yeah.
probably right around the same time that we announced the adult.
Okay.
Of the year. Yeah.
So, and also, I want to make sure people know they can visit Jeannette Rankin Peace Resource Center, the Fair Trade Store, and also the library, and also I think people can book that room, you know, if they have some mediation issues and they need like a neutral place that's very supportive of them coming to a peaceful resolution.
Sure. And I'll just mention that the Peace Center and the Fair Trade Store are both located in the same building at 519 South Higgins. And it says on the outside, it says the Olive Branch, which is the new name for the Fair Trade Store. And then, of course, the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center. And when you walk in, it's clear that you're in the Fair Trade Store. It's not always as clear that you're in the Peace Center, but it's all in one place.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as we were saying earlier, the Old Hanson's ice cream.
Yes.
Old Hanson's, for those who are very, very old Missoula residents.
Right.
That would be us.
That would be us.
That would be us, yes.
I was next door to it
Selma
forever.
doesn't remember, but the rest of us do.
Yeah, because the Peace Center was on Front Street.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Way back when. That's when I did a lot of shopping at the Christmas time at the Fair Trade Store. And the gifts went over really well.
Oh,
Yes.
it could be a success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can't find something like that anywhere else.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should wrap up the show. There's no reason
Right.
not to. Scott agrees.
He
gives a
agrees.
thumbs up. But I want to thank you for taking the time, letting people go
Yes.
before you, and then taking the time to explain this new facet of the annual search for
I
peace.
can't wait to learn who the
Yeah, I'm going to be
honorees
really
are gonna be.
curious to see. I'm waiting for the next Dalai Lama. They'll be like, this is the person. Because there's 7 and everybody loves them. It'll be like amazing. So we will be back 2 weeks hence.
Yes.
And you're back from your
I'll be
trip.
tan. Yeah.
Okay, so Kim will be back, and her attitude will be much changed
I'll
for the
be
positive.
cheerier, yes.
She'll believe that spring will be but a heartbeat away
I'm
when
just
next
gonna,
we
yes,
convene.
skip ahead.
And as always, if you know of a group or a nonprofit you'd like to see on the show, just let us know, and we'll make arrangements. We're going to go till May, right? Before we take. We're in season 5 or 6, we're not sure, but new voices on the program, new organizations represented. We're very much open to it. So in that effect, if you want to communicate with us, you can email mcat@mcat.org or call us at 542-6228. So for MCAT, I'm Joel Baird.
And I'm Kim Anderson.
We'll see you next time.
Your local library, igniting the passion for reading.
How would you like to have an endless supply of books, movies, music, audiobooks, and even ebooks whenever you want? Your library card can do all that, and it doesn't cost a thing. You can pick up a library card anytime the library is open, free of charge to residents. All you need is a picture ID with your current address. The library will then verify your address, and once they have, your library card will be good for life.
Hello everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television. I'm here with a special In Between the Program to invite you to an interesting, exciting opportunity to have public input to shape the future of local communication in Missoula. We want people to participate in our focus group to get your reaction to public access television, how government meetings are covered, what we can do to help educators, and more. So this is all coming up in the spring. It'll be beautiful then, and you'll want to leave your house. You want to leave maybe on April 3rd or April 4th. It's a Tuesday, it's a Wednesday. We'll have some evening focus group sessions, and you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you helped participate in a very important study and community needs assessment that will shape the future of communications in Missoula for at least a decade to come. With me in the studio to help explain the process and someone who has been helping MCAT put together this process is Sue Buskey. Sue, welcome and thanks for being on the show.
I am thrilled to be here, and I've just spent my first trip here to Missoula, and I'm really enjoying it and looking forward to being back to do more and more work on behalf of MCAT and the city of Missoula, which is so great because MCAT and the city are collaborating on this really important process.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing it. Viewer, you may not know that Sue has had over 30 years of experience doing this type of community needs assessment that helps cities, counties, towns put together a vision plan for communication in Missoula. In this instance, and some of you know that Mcat started in 1990. That was 28 years ago. We sometimes get fixed in our ways. We can't help it. You know, Sue has noticed this on her visit. We're like, why do you do that weird thing? Or we're like, well, when we first came here, everyone put bubble gum right here on this corner of the table, so we do too, by way of metaphor. So that this community needs assessment, which desperately relies on public participation, right, to really work. It is going to help stodgy organizations like Old Mcat reevaluate, how do we deliver our service? What directions can we go in that we never thought of before, right?
That's exactly true. And the thing we have to understand is that the contract between Charter Cable and the city is what dictates channels that are available for the community to use, like MCAT's channels, funding that's available, your ability to go live from various locations. Well, that contract was negotiated in 2003. Now just think about how much how we view and use media has changed since 2003. So what we try to do with the needs assessment process is to engage residents, people who are active with their school, their church, their community group, their neighborhood association, and help them to think about what are the ways that they would like to more effectively communicate with their constituents, get information to them, get information from them, and what would make it easier for them to do so. And so part of our sort of visioning process, which is really what the needs assessment is, it's a community communications visioning process, is to get all kinds of folks in the community together and to get them to think about, what do I want to do for the future? What are the big issues we need to communicate more effectively to the public? And how can, and what are the tools we need to do that? And that's part of the information that's gathered, and then the city takes to its negotiations with Charter to update that 2003 contract.
Yes, there's a lot of water under that bridge. Some of it not too clean. So another thing we would like people to know, right, is that they don't have to be any TV expert. Right. They don't have to have used MCAT or any kind of camera stuff before. This is an opportunity for them to put on a thinking cap or an imagination. So that if someone came to the focus group and said, well, you know, I'm leading a local group of Cub Scouts and the kids are really interested in media, so I thought I'd come down. We're not going to say, well, that's hardly qualification, and show them the door. We're going to welcome them and let them have some input and voice into the process.
Exactly. I mean, in fact, it's really important that we have all kinds of people participate. I mean, you know, if you think about it for a moment, every one of us have to communicate with many people at many levels every day. Okay, right. And we really don't think about it until it becomes hard, till something gets in the way of that ability to get that information to the person or the group or whoever. And also, the other thing that's really important is that in today's world, there is less and less information that's purely local, and more information that's totally global. So it's harder to get information about what's happening in your community. So what the community access channels are about, and what the community media center that MCAT operates is about, is that truly local information distribution and what it's going to take to make it easier and more accessible to the public.
Right, and that's where we need the public, because we can't figure it all out. Right. We're just one organization. So the public opportunity is coming up this spring for people to attend one of 4 focus groups at the Missoula Public Library. The meetings will be held in the large meeting room. It's located at 301 East Main, really close to the downtown. There's parking outside, and there's door prizes and other incentives for people to attend. They can register, right, on the MCAT website, and I put up a focus group tab, and also the splash page will indicate to people, well, this is how you can register for the group. In addition to that, there are also going to be an online survey that will start right around the close of the focus groups.
And the online survey, I mean, in order to get the broadest diversity of information, we are doing focus groups and this online survey. The online survey will open on April 3rd and will stay open till May 30th. And it'll be, and the online survey will deal with community information and community programming. It'll also deal with customer service.
Yeah.
We'll want to find out if you're happy with, if you're a subscriber to Charter, if you're happy with it. If you've never subscribed, why you've not subscribed. We need to get that information because that becomes very pertinent to what the city will then go to Charter and attempt to negotiate for in this negotiation process, which is what the renewal process is about.
Right, and it lasts so long. That's partly why we want this public input and we want to get it right. This one is likely to be a 10-year agreement, and it is kind of scary when you say the numbers, right?
Yeah.
That's the year 2028 it would last.
Right.
And I think yesterday when we had a meeting at the library, kind of kickoff meeting, he said, well, just imagine it's a 15-year like the previous two. It would be the year 2033.
Yeah,
so we really do
yeah,
need people to help us on
really
this. We
need
can't
people,
do it
yeah,
alone.
We need the public input. It becomes really critical to really visioning where we want to go in this community. And it can't just be you and I or somebody down at City Hall. It's got to be everybody in the community. It's got to be people who come from different walks of life, and different income areas, and different education areas, and different ethnicities, whatever. The more input, the better.
Sue, thanks for taking the time to help me explain this. And for you, dear viewer, I want to extend a most cordial and welcoming invitation to participate in a focus group. It would be April 3rd and 4th at the Missoula Public Library. You can go to mcat.org and get the details. And if you want to call me and talk to me, Joel Baird at MCAT, my number here is 542-6228. I can explain more about what you would do when you're in there. There'll be relatively just right groups, not so small that you feel like you're giving something away, nor too big that your voice is going to get lost. We'll have about, hopefully, 20 to 30 people at each one of these focus groups on April 3rd and 4th. There'll be one evening focus group and 3 focus groups at different times during the day. So if you feel like you have 2 hours you can spare, if you feel lucky and you're going to win a door prize, consider being part of the focus group. Once again, if you want to learn more about it, call me at MCAT. The number is 542-6228. So for MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for your attention during this brief inter-program program about the upcoming need for your public input. We'll see you soon.